Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, let's talk about what is happening to Tesla, what we can expect moving into next week, and yeah, all that good stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, as per usual, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., well, again, I do share my thoughts every single day with my members as the market is trading throughout the trading day, of course, giving updates throughout the trading day, essentially, really simply put, for just $3 a month. That link is down below in the description of every single YouTube video. It's at the top of the description. Again, constantly sharing these thoughts, post updates, mainly on Tesla stock for the $3 tier, sometimes other stocks, or for $5. Of course, you get access to everything in the first tier, plus NVIDIA daily updates, which again, so if you're interested, I do share those thoughts every single day, $3 or $5. I mean, that's all it really is. Not trying to make it anything too crazy. I will have actually an even higher tier coming out most likely relatively soon, which will include Discord and plus other things as well. But yeah, so definitely check it out. But yeah, jumping into a Tesla, closing the day with a nice rebound of 4%. And again, during these tough times, I'm posting, yeah, anyways, so 4% rebound. So pretty nice day in the market today. The market finally getting a rebound. Pretty, it was pretty mixed throughout the day, right? We got that little push to the downside, and then we finally got that recovery. And this is kind of what I've been waiting for quite some time. There's a lot of reasons why this is a good sign. I mean, theoretically, again, there's nothing is guaranteed in the market, but theoretically, based on, the conditions I'm seeing, it's looking pretty good. It's looking like, we should be expecting a bullish reversal next week. In my opinion, of course, not financial advice. For a few reasons. Now, number one, right, this is what I've been telling my members for a while now, and this is kind of the main thing I've been waiting for. And I said the same thing last night. If I go all the way, I don't know where it was actually. It might have been here. Here. Another week overnight. Let's see if this week open strong close lines up with seasonality tomorrow, which I mean it clearly did, right? Market needs a week open into a strong close. So far, we've been getting either strong opens into weak closes or just simply weak opens into weak closes, right? So we got the exact opposite of that. We got exactly what I've been waiting for, which is a weak open, which we did have a weak open this morning, right? Especially on Tesla stock, right? It was down another, as if, you couldn't make it up. Tesla was down another almost 3%, pretty much coming right into my, the kind of the sweet spot of 273. Like I said, this is like a very big range for Tesla to hold, right? As low as 260-ish to as high as about 290. Like that whole range, which again, I'm not going to give you exact levels because I don't know the exact levels. Again, some people like to put exact levels and they're like, hey, if it breaks 274 or 69, it's all over. It's like, it's not usually that simple, right? It's not usually that simple, especially when you're looking at a bigger time frame, right? And you have this kind of data to work with. Anyways, the point is we held, right? And not only do we hold, we reversed pretty aggressively, which is good. And we closed at the high of the day throughout the market in general. Also a good sign. QQQ ended up holding my 500 level, well below the Bollinger Bands, extremely oversold RSI, and at some point this was bound to happen, even potentially printing a bullish piercing candle on the Qs, which is a good sign. See if SPY's like, hey, even SPY, same thing. Very, very nice looking candles. I mean, I'd be pretty surprised if the market doesn't resume northwards next week. I mean, you never know, obviously, with this kind of market nowadays. It's kind of a kangaroo market, but the conditions are setting up pretty nicely. So Tesla, right? It did print a bullish engulfing candle. Bullish engulfing candles is essentially when the candle of the day, which obviously is today, fully engulfs the candle. And from what I understand, the only thing that really matters is the body. So the body of today's candle, you can see fully encapsulates and engulfs the body of yesterday's candle, right? Which is a good sign. That's one of the best bullish reversal signs. That's one of the most potent reversal signs. Now, they're not perfect, of course. Ideally, what we want to see is a green Monday for even better confirmation. So, in other words, if Monday is green, this gives this bullish reversal pattern substantially more validity, right? Again, and the reason that matters is because yesterday, NVIDIA, which I'll talk about in the NVIDIA video, did also print a bearish engulfing candle, but obviously today was a green day, so it substantially reduces the severity of it, right? Just keep that in mind. So, ideally we want a green Monday. But assuming we get a green Monday, this should be a very powerful reversal and we should make our way higher. Now, there's a few things to look at. Now, obviously yesterday we looked at a few things, right? One of which, of course, being this kind of mean reversion type indicator, which I told you on the daily and the weekly, it's at extreme levels, like literally pretty extreme levels. Like this is not normal. Like this is very, very extreme, very, very elevated to the downside. So that's number one, right? This is just not the place to get bearish. As I kind of went on a rant about it, we came to the bottom of the channel, we found a bounce, we came to this trend line, we found a bounce, we came to massive weekly and monthly demand. So far, of course, finding a bounce. Now, there is a potential that this zone, this 270 zone that we just tapped, Again, we maybe will come back down there one more time. I don't know, but there is a chance, and a good chance, in my opinion, that this could be like the bottom for the stock, at least for a while, right? Maybe not like the bottom; it'll never see these levels ever again in the history of the stock. No, not necessarily, but for a while, there is that possibility. Now, what would increase that possibility, right? What to me would make this possibility not just a possibility, but a pretty damn good chance of reality. A break above this, right? A break out of this downwards channel, right? If we break out this downwards channel, there's an extremely high chance this was the bottom. Obviously, we're a while away from there, right? We got a ways to go before that happens. But unfortunately, sometimes, especially with a stock as volatile as Tesla, it requires such drastic measures to get some, better confirmation ultimately, right? Because this is, like I said, bottom picking territory, but you never really know for sure. So that's good. So we have the bullish engulfing candle. We have extreme oversold conditions on the bands, and pretty much every band. Yesterday I mentioned how we went to the red band, which is very rare, but we went to the red band as well. Just a lot of oversold conditions, and as if that wasn't enough, the daily has also printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 daily red candles in a row, which doesn't usually happen, right? And then when it does, and it's pretty, the odds are not in your favor for it to continue down even further. And the weekly was the same idea, where we have now printed, we still closed the week red, of course, but we did have a historic level in the weekly time frames, where you can see there's been only 4 other times, 1, 2, 3, 4, once back around January of last year, September 2016, around February-ish, we'll say, of 2016 as well. So 16 is quite a wild one, clearly. And then 2014, right? So those are the only other times we've had 6 consecutive red, not necessarily red, because there's a difference between lower weekly closures relative to the last. So I guess that is technically, but it's not really red, because red is relative to where you open necessarily. So anyways, whatever, you get the idea. 6 in a row weekly closures that were lower than the previous week's close. We've never seen a 7th. The point I'm trying to make here is we've never seen a 7th weekly candle close below the closure of the previous one, which in this case, the 7th week would be next week. So just statistically, there is, so far, according to stats, like literally, there's technically speaking a 100% chance that we will not close that next week below 293.31, which is where we closed this week. Now, again, we could go below that level intra-week, right? Like Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. But statistically, according to stats, we have never, in the history of the stock, closed a 7th in a row week lower than the previous week, which in this case, again, would be below pretty much 293.31. So take that into consideration for what it's worth. Now, let's just assume that this is the bottom. Let's just say this is the place where Tesla's ready to reverse. What are the levels to watch out for the upside? Pretty simple. You can see we've been kind of waterfalling down, right? Every time, we've waterfall down, get a little bit of bounce, waterfall down, bit of a bounce, waterfall down. But notice what we do almost every single time we end up waterfalling, where you can even argue the fact that we kind of did that almost like here as well, arguably. Like, it was pretty close to this as well, right? Every time we broke these levels, we came back and retested it. Broke below this level here, what did we do? We pretty much came back and retested it. And it just didn't get as high as I expected it to, but it was pretty close. It was just a few dollars away. And now it's pretty much the same concept, right? We ended up breaking down below this level here. And then that means there's a damn good chance that we will most likely make our way close into the mid to low 230s sometime, maybe even next week. Honestly, with how volatile Tesla is, easily could be even next week, right? Back to about 320, 325, which is going to be retesting this kind of key level right here that we broke down. What seems like ages ago, but it was only just a few days ago. This was a very hectic week, wasn't it? But yeah, so that's going to be the main level I'll be looking for to the upside. Technically the first level will be about, 310 to 314, but I'd be surprised if we don't revisit this level up here. Again, 320 to 325, somewhere around that general range is my main target for Tesla stock to kind of revisit. That would get very close to reverting back to the daily mean, the 4-hour mean, which is also currently sitting around the mid 320s right now. Because another thing you can look at is this, right? On the 4-hour chart, again, mean reversion is, in my opinion, pretty powerful. I like mean reversion, but notice what happens every single time Tesla gets too far away from the mean, right? It gets a very significant, very steep drop, reverted back. Another one, this was a smaller one, but nonetheless, still technically did it. Very, very steep drop right here, reverted back. Very steep drop that we're in right now. I would expect another reversion, right? That's just kind of what it is. Now, again, keep in mind, seasonality. I mentioned it yesterday. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. But we talked about seasonality yesterday, how technically the seasonality suggests that we pretty much bottom in the market, pretty much around today or Monday. Clearly, it was today. And then we get a bit of a rally for about a week, maybe a week and a half, something like that. And around mid-March, seasonality suggests that there should be a bit more pain ahead, and we could potentially go even lower. Now, Tesla is a bit of a unique exception, but at the very least, I think Tesla will probably make its way back down to these levels, and we could potentially ultimately set up what could be a very large kind of double bottom type situation that would look something like that. So just keep in mind, right? Just because we bottom here, and if we start rallying next week, yeah, we can get up to 320, best case scenario closer to 350, but that's where a lot of people are going to get suckered in. Like, I'm sure everyone was panicking here. Everyone was selling. Everyone's panicking. Everyone's getting scared. And, and I was saying many times over how, this area is massive demand. This is the place where you buy, not panic, right? Or at the very least, if you have orders or if you have cash secured puts, like this isn't where you panic sell is essentially what I'm trying to say. And if anything, buy if you have cash left or whatever, not financial advice, right? But again, the market's very good at sucking people in both ways. In this case, of course, we have, people getting sucked in here to the potential bearish side, and the bulls getting sucked in kind of in the inverse effect, essentially, where they're just getting panicked, right? And the bears getting excited. But then, if we get this pump back up to around here, let's say, I don't know, by end of next week or something like that, or maybe, I don't know, a week and a half from now or something like that, right? People are going to get excited again. People are going to get very bullish again. People are going to start screaming for, some crazy price targets again, right? And the market is going to suck them back into potentially reverse once again, make a double bottom around here, and then finally break out. Like, just keep in mind, right? Don't get... It's important to try and remove as much emotion as possible. I try my best to do it. It's hard for me sometimes as well. Like, this week was difficult for me. Like this, again, I try to like remove all emotion when I'm talking in these videos and give you guys just honestly what I believe in, and of course what there's not, stats and whatever and the chart is saying. But it's hard. It's hard on the mental, right? It's hard on the mental for sure. It's difficult. When the market's just flushing this down aggressively, like it's difficult, right? It's difficult to, it's difficult on the mental. You get the point. Anyways, so that's kind of what I'm seeing on Tesla stock. Going to the weekly chart, again, you kind of see that nice little bounce off of that massive demand zone. So far, so good. Kind of roughly holding that trend line, which is also good. But again, we're still very much oversold on the weekly. And technically speaking, a weekly reversion will bring this back to about 340 to 350, which actually, if we get a weekly reversion, let's say sometime within the next 2 weeks, which is possible within the next 2 weeks, which again, that's where usually seasonality kicks into weakness again. If we get a mean reversion on the weekly to, again, 340, 350, that actually would be almost perfectly lining up with a reversion back to the daily, but even better yet, pretty much right to the top of this channel once again, right? So let's see how this plays out moving forward. But all in all, I do believe that there is a much higher chance that we begin in an uptrend back up. At the very least, a dead cat back up starting as early as Monday, but most likely it's just throughout next week, right? Again, doesn't mean that Monday has to be right, because or green rather, everyone always assumes that if I say something bullish, that means the next day has to be bullish or else you're wrong. It's like, no, guys, again, I feel like a lot of people are coming into this market with like zoomer mindsets, that kind of quick, they need that quick fix type mindsets where, it takes time. Guys, it takes time. Sometimes it'll take a day, maybe two, maybe a week, maybe a month. Takes time. You got to calm your asses down. And then moving over to the 1 hour chart, what we had this morning was essentially, of course, over the last few days, I should say, or a couple of days, we had a nice little descending wedge, which I posted with the members, broke out of it, came back down, retested that, also posted to my members. And then, of course, we ended up having a continued rally from there as well. And now we're starting to break above this kind of, market bias, if you will, type line over here, which is good. We have, we clearly have had issues doing that many times over, right? Each time we get rejected by it over and over and over until we finally now close the candle above it, which is a good sign. So that to me does scream that the momentum should start, at least short term, flipping back to being bullish. But yeah, that's kind of the main thing I want to talk about. I hope I'm not missing anything. I feel like there's something else I wanted to mention, but I can't for the life of me. Can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the VIX. I don't know. Take a look at the VIX. I mean, the VIX is kind of collapsing, but it's still slightly elevated. I mean, the VIX needs to essentially drop below 17.5 roughly and start closing below 17.5 for the market to really get, excited again. So keep that in mind. I do like the way the Qs look. I think the Qs look pretty nice for a reversal. Maybe, maybe we get like some short-term pain on Monday, but then I should reverse regardless, in my opinion, of course, because we're holding key levels here, which I like. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, overall, the market, I personally believe, looks pretty solid for a reversal here. I don't see anything too concerning. I'll talk about NVIDIA, of course, in the NVIDIA video. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So in terms of options flow, let's take a quick look in terms of what happened to options flow. Yeah, let's take a look for Tesla stock. Let's see what happened here towards the end of the day. Anything interesting happened. So nice little puts came in towards the end of the day here for next week, actually. So clearly someone's expecting a bit of pain, but we'll see how that actually turns out. Again, we could get maybe a little bit of pain starting Monday or early next week, right? Very small pain, maybe get one more small to move to the downside. But ultimately, I do believe that the uptrend should resume here. And my main targets, again, around 313-ish to most likely closer to 320, 325, probably by end of week next week is my kind of, If I had to guess a time frame, that would be probably somewhere around there. In terms of confirmed bearish or bullish flow, Tesla is going to be 5 million confirmed bearish flow, which is pretty much nothing. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.